I'll keep this intro short because if you're here, you probably have kids and nobody with kids has time for a long intro. So let's get straight into it. The only thing I do ask is that you please give us a like and subscribe if this video has brought any kind of value to you and if it helps make your next trip with your kids a little bit less stressful. Number one, and I can't stress this enough, always have a strong plan B. No matter how strong your plan A is, just always assume that something might not go as you planned, and therefore your plan B and your backup plan needs to be just as strong, if not stronger. We'll go over this in the next tip, but basically anything that you had planned in terms of toys, food, snack, activities, make sure that there is always a backup plan, and make sure that your backup plan is better than your first plan. As a matter of fact, screw it. Make a plan C. Make a plan A, B, and C. Can't be too safe. Number two, let's go over gadgets and equipment that you must try and have with you to minimize the stress levels, also, but to make it more enjoyable for your kids. When you're thinking about what to take with you, you got to think about the whole journey. The taxi to the airport itself, the flight, everything like that. You want to make sure that whatever gadgets you're taking with you are easily incorporated into any of those activities. I try and not overpack these because, again, I'm trying to minimize the stuff that I'm doing. So if one, we take a tush baby. I have linked one below, like an alternative, because nobody needs to pay that much for something that just holds your baby on your hip. This massively helps us because one, we don't carry a stroller with us in the airport. This is just a personal choice. I would rather Kylo run around. And if you have only one child, I do suggest that you just let them get as much possible energy out. But if they want to get carried and you don't want to break your back, the tush baby does come in handy, and it's also much easier to carry around than a stroller. If you have more than one kid, then probably a stroller would be easy and a tush baby. That way you can alternate, or in case both of them don't want to walk anymore, you can do that. And then again, add gadgets the more kids that you have.
We're flying from Da Nang International today, so they have these like little play areas everywhere like this. And Kylo loves them because he can just tire out. They also have these little like lay down things that I normally lay on, whilst them two just go crazy basically.
In terms of gadgets, again, we don't carry a tablet for Kylo. That's just personal choice. But if you do have one for your kid, this would be something that you could bring along with you. This kind of borders onto safety a little bit, but depending on what airport you go to and how many kids you have with you, I highly suggest getting an AirTag or any kind of GPS tracking device that you could add onto either their clothes or their tags that would help you keep a track on your kids. I know this sounds really crazy, but for example, we've traveled a lot, and airports like, I can only really relate to Asia because that's where we're traveling right now, but airports like Changi or, big airports like that, even Bangkok, for example, Suvarnabhumi, massive. And when there's a rush of people coming through, especially if you have a toddler who's just learned to walk, I guarantee you, no matter how well behaved your kid is, they're just going to wander off. Or even if they don't wander off, someone could walk in front of you, in front of your child, and just losing track of them for 1 second will literally make your heart palpitate. If you're a parent, that your heart will just literally drop. I rather avoid this. Obviously, I keep an eye on my child like there's no tomorrow. However, I do feel like this does help give you some sort of sense of security, I suppose, and just having that extra safety net there is never a harm. The alternative to this obviously is a handler for your baby. I keep saying baby as if my toddler is still a baby. A handler for your child, but again, up to personal choice if you want to do that rather than the other one. Anything to kind of help. Think of safety. Go into this with the idea that what you're doing and everything that you're planning is to minimize stress and create an enjoyable travel journey.
The queuing is like a big debate between parents, I feel. So you either go first on the airplane or you go last. For us, last just works the best, and I do advise it to parents who have highly active children, because for me, to make sure that I literally have him as seated in that seat for at least amount of time possible is just what works for us. If I was to take him the plane first, by the time that plane actually takes off, which is like another 20 minutes for everybody to board, he'd go crazy. So there's just no way I can keep him in there for that long. But we literally wait, and I'm not even kidding you, we literally wait till like the final call. We're by the gate, like the gate's over there, you can literally see people queuing. But yeah, I won't go in until it's like final call, Mr. Vinny. Yeah, that's when we're going.
Moving on to number 3, entertainment. And I'm going to add snacks onto this point, because when I say snacks, I do not just mean your normal snacks. I have 2 sort of categories for snack. I have my long last snacks. These are things like your biscuits, your crackers, your things that takes them a long time to eat, but they're enjoyable enough that they will take a long time to eat them. And number 2, I have interactive snacks. These are things for me that Kylo can interact with. So these are a couple of them. I'm talking like mini little trinkets, mini little things that take a while to open, take a while for them to eat or to figure out how to get the snack out, anything like that that keeps them entertained and keeps them fully engaged will make sure that your kid is not sort of focused on the chaos going around, or if they're boarding or, you know, having to sit down. For example, Kylo doesn't really, it's a hit or miss really. Sometimes he likes putting his seatbelt on. Sometimes he really hates putting a seatbelt on. But if I have a toy, this is a pure example. This time when we flew, he literally screamed at me not to put his seatbelt on. Sometimes he actually asks, but this time he screamed to not put his seatbelt on. I gave him this little trinket, which had like a little dog inside. He had to figure out how to get the dog out and put the dog back in and stuff. And I snuck the seatbelt onto him whilst he was playing with it. Worked out perfectly fine. There was no crying involved, no random traumatic experiences, and it made the whole thing much more enjoyable because it was something that I had anxiety about. I did not want him to start screaming on the whole airplane because I was trying to put a seatbelt on. It's happened before, trust me.
We're about 30 minutes in and he has another 2 toys out. He gets bored of them very quickly, so some of them do keep him entertained for a while, like this little dinosaur egg has kept him entertained for a while. But I keep the bag by my feet and then I take them out when I can see that he's had enough, or I'll take a few toys away and only give him one so that he's like only focused on one.
In terms of what I was talking about in the first point, plan A and plan B, I have something called the first sort of entertainment bag, you could call it, where I keep his normal toys that he plays with at home that he has the most interest in. I'll pick 2 or 3 that I know he absolutely loves. In here, I'll also put those long lasting snacks that I was talking to you about. But this is the bag, or this is my go-to entertainment / snack that I will go to if he's starting to show signs of boredom. Going back to point number 1, my plan B will be a bag that has new toys. And I know this might be contradictory, getting your kid new toys every time you fly, but I'm not talking about anything expensive. I'm literally just talking about a new, for example, he likes cars. I'm talking about a new tiny little sports car that he's just seen for the first time on the plane. And this randomly, he'll snap out of a tantrum and just take interest in whatever this tiny little new thing is. This interactive snacks that I was talking to you about, these will also go. This is my backup plan bag. And this is a bag that I will keep probably by my feet when I'm in the airplane. And I'll only give it to him when he's really showing signs that he is not putting up with the travel anymore, or whatever stress or frustration that he's got around, he's had enough. To minimize his stress levels, but to also make the trip enjoyable, this is when I start giving him things that he will take an interest in. In terms of timings and how much to pack to keep the kids entertained on a flight, I want you to think about it this way. Snacks can take up to 20 to 30 minutes to keep them interested, and a new toy or a new activity, again, about 20 minutes. So plan for those time slots according to how long your flight is. If you're going for a 3-hour flight, you're going to need somewhere around 5 to 6 different types of snacks, and then also 5 to 6 different types of new toys or little trinkets that they can play with, or just activities in general. Maybe a new coloring book, or maybe a coloring book that has 6 different pages, stuff like that. To give you guys a starting point, these are the activities that I have had most success with my 2 and almost half-year-old. This is an activity book. I carry this around. It's actually called Busy Books. You can find them anywhere, but I've linked our favorites below. And this just keeps him busy because he takes such an interest in it. But the one thing I will say is be prepared to lose some of these little bits depending on how your child behaves or how your child wants to throw them around, pick them up. But you can minimize this if you carry a seat attachment, which I have also linked below. They look like this. And they just attach from your chair to the chair in front, and it keeps anything that might fall in between the chairs from falling in between the chairs. This doesn't really work with our kid because he's a bit older now. He doesn't like not having his feet dangle. He doesn't like that. So we don't use this. So we're just prepared for whatever we might lose, we lose, and that's fine. Stickers, also great activity choice. I've never done me wrong. They've always stuck by me. Make sure you get peelable stickers, like peelable and re-stickable stickers. They can stick and unstick, and that works great. Especially 3D ones seem to be pretty cool. 1 or 2 pots of Play-Doh. Again, Play-Doh that isn't too sticky, depending on which boy you buy. I found that the normal actual Play-Doh for me is too smooth, and sometimes if he plays with it a lot, it becomes very sticky. I don't really know if I've just bought the wrong ones, but yeah. So I found a random different type of Play-Doh, which again, I have linked below, but it just has more of a thicker consistency. So he can't it's more like clay, so he can't smudge it into things, and it literally, he makes things out of it. But I only get 1 or 2 pots of these, and I don't give him both at the same time to him. Like, I'll give him his favorite color, and then I'll give him another one if I can see that the boredom is starting to creep in. Next thing I will say is carry in your hand luggage a change of clothes for your kid, and also a change of clothes for you. You're handling a lot of snacks, so think about it this way: spillage, chocolate fingers, or anything like that, you just want to make sure that you have a backup. My next point will be to book your flight according to your kids' sort of sleep schedule. I'm talking, if you want a 2 to 3 hour flight, maybe book that flight during their nap time or wherever their afternoon nap time would be. If you're going to go on a longer haul flight, I would highly, and I can't stress enough, highly recommend to book a flight that is overnight rather than during the day when your kid is most active. The other thing I would say is obviously arrive early at the airport. That goes without a say. You don't know what the queues are going to be like. You don't know what the traffic is going to be like. You can obviously pre-plan to a point, but there's certain things that you will not know until you get to the airport. I will briefly touch on car seats. However, I can't give you a real idea of what this would be like because we don't carry one with us. But I'll give you my perspective. We don't have, and we have never had, a car seat with Carlo. He's been traveling since he was 9 months old, and we've never put him on in a car seat on a flight. Again, personal reasons, I could probably spend, an extra 10 minutes discussing this, but I think every parent will have a preference, and every preference is perfectly fine. Just make sure that if you do get a car seat, they're FDA approved airline approved, and make sure that you, again, are trying your hardest to either maybe carry them. I know that certain car seats come with like a carry-on backpack that you can carry them in. Then you have certain car seats that are specifically made for travel parents, so they will roll and you can put your kid in them in the roll. I've linked the one I'm talking about below in the description. My next point isn't something that I've seen a lot of people do, but it's something that I do for a lot of different reasons. I tend to take like a snack or a gift bag in for the cabin crew, mainly just because I want to make sure that, I know it's not easy to look after a whole flight of people, but then also I know it's probably extra hard to do that when you have either a screaming child, a crying baby, and you have to make sure that they have the seatbelts on and stuff like that. All of those things can be difficult. And I don't want to worry about having to, piss off cabin crew or think about the fact that I'm making this harder for them or making their job harder, whilst also trying to settle my own kid. I know this is going to sound strange to some people because a lot of people don't give a shit, but it's fine. Like, it's up to everybody. You know what I mean? This is just something that causes me anxiety. I don't want to overthink it, and I don't want to sit there thinking about it. And it just makes me feel a little bit better knowing that I almost like preemptively apologize in case my kid has a tantrum. This is just one bag that I take with me, and inside I'll put small little snacks or hand cream or hand sanitizers. And I'm talking like the little travel ones. It's just little things that I'll randomly add together, and I'll add in a little card just to say thank you for your help on this flight or something like that. I only do this on long haul flights, so anything, 6+ hours or maybe 7+ hours. And yeah, on our flight from the UK to Singapore, this was super helpful, and the cabin crew was super nice to us, and they took extra care of Kylo. I don't know if it's like a subconscious thing because somebody's giving you something nice, so you want to subconsciously be extra nice to them. I don't care what it is. I just want to do it to make sure that I'm preemptively making up for any kind of extra stress that I've added on. My last point will be to familiarize yourself with specific airline perks that they offer for kids or for families. I have done a whole post on this that specifies, I think I go through about 10 or 15 different airlines, and I specify specifically what each one will give to you, either free or at a charge, just to accommodate to families. And this is something that you definitely have to take advantage of if you're traveling with more than one child, or even just with one child, because hello, why not? Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope that has brought you some value, and I hope that you enjoy your next trip as a family and have the best time. Please don't forget to subscribe, and see you guys next time. If you have any other questions that I didn't answer that you want specific answers to, please comment below because I do always reply. Bye.